Good afternoon, everybody. In my English 1301 courses, I have two online, and we are coming up on the documented essay. This is going to be the most important paper in the class, and I will do my best looking at deadlines, seeing what I can do for everybody. Um, Due to all kinds of issues this semester, especially the pandemic, I have been extending due dates. And this is probably getting my students into bad habits of submitting late. But there's a lot going on, especially if you work full time, you've lost family members due to the coronavirus and things like that. So, yeah, I'm in trouble, but I am doing my best. And I am sorry that I am not giving feedback as fast as I need to. Um, and you might be wondering right now, you might not, why is Dr. Salcedo wearing a white donkey T-shirt with donkey ears that are camouflaged and a Shazam comic book symbol, superhero symbol? I just came back from a live presentation to about 20 students who were military veterans and talking about the graphic novel, which means it's in comic book form, The White Donkey Terminal Lance. And it's about a military person returning from Iraq with PTSD. And a white donkey was something in the graphic novel that held up a battalion of tanks and troops, and nobody could get it by because this white donkey came and stared them down in the road. And it's like, okay, that's all it takes to hold up a war. Yeah. But it's a really interesting novel, and I teach graphic novels when I can. I'm trying to develop a graphic novels online course in my spare time, which has not occurred this semester, but I'm told it will, and it's probably the same for all of you taking online courses, working jobs, putting food on the table, and just the day to day. So, the documented essay. It's the most important. You will write paper. You will write this course. It weighs a lot. It is individual. Where the fourth paper in the course is going to be presented in groups, so you'll each participate in a longer paper, but you each might only have to write a few pages and submit um, research resources. So that brings me back to the documented essay. It needs to be 5 pages long, down to the bottom, double spaced, 12-point type, Times New Roman font. Um, if you have a works cited page, it's in addition to the 5 pages. And that is what is how the academic level works. If you have an image in a paper, it does not count as text. If it takes up a page, then you got to write an additional page of text. If you are writing a documented essay, it means there will be documentation. Therefore, you will find resources. Therefore, you will have to cite them in the body of the paper as well as on the works cited page. So, your 5 page paper will actually be 6 pages with your works cited page or more. So, what is the documentation is the research and documenting things, but the essay itself calls for you to define what is academic writing, find a definition of it in the Oxford English Dictionary, Merriam-Webster. Do not go to dictionary.com, Ask Jeeves, a History Channel, random websites. No, you shouldn't have websites in this paper. You should have pages, page numbers in parentheses. Maybe the parentheses, source name, last name. Um, say the White Donkey, Terminal Lance. Maximilian Uriarte wrote this. So when I am quoting him, I would have quotation marks, direct quotation, comma, quotation marks, parentheses, Uriarte, a space, and page number like 47. So it could be parentheses, Uriarte, space 47 in parentheses. And that is an in-text citation, which means it's in the body of the text of your paper. All written things are text. Um, there's text and images, and sometimes they blur, but I'm not going to confuse people with that. That's a higher level uh, graduate kind of thinking. So first, you have to define what constitutes. What do you think? Find a definition that you like that talks about certain types of papers as being academic. It could be lab reports, boring unless you're in biology or the nursing field. Then hey, you may already have a knack for this, but it's hard for me. But it makes for a great paper. You want to write about lab reports? Go for it. Another academic type of writing is ink shedding, and there's information on that. And some of it, that information is in your online textbook. So if you want to do something about ink shedding, then you would have to go to the UTPB library databases, and they're easy to find. Go to www.utpb.edu. If you're enrolled, you have access to everything in the library. And where it goes to Falcon Finder, then you can type in ink shedding. You're going to get all kinds of stuff, electronic books, things you could read free. Nobody has to go to the library to get a book physically anymore, really. And there's a lot of free stuff out there. Also, you might have a better response by going to journals, academic journals. These are peer reviewed, usually. That means they go through a committee of experts that say this counts. They do fact checking, they do concept checking. They're experts in the field, and they say yay or nay, this paper passes or it does not pass and gets rejected because. So when you find something that's peer reviewed as a scholarly article or scholarly journal, now how do you find those? If you go to www.utpb.edu, the top gray ribbon on the page, a few things over, will say library. Same place you go to find electronic books. Click on library, and it brings up Falcon Finder. Okay, that will get you books, newspaper articles, reviews, things like that, and they're all legitimate. But if you want to find a good journal article, then you have to scroll down to a person sitting in a chair with purple hair. You only see the back of them with lots of purple hair. And it will say databases. Click on that. And once you've clicked on databases, it will bring up from A to Z and say there's like 245 databases. So don't panic. You're going to start with A. It's the second or third. I think it's the second. If you scroll down, the second name, academic Do not mind the man coughing in the background. Academic search complete. And click on that. It pulls in thousands of journals from different sites. It'll save you time. Academic search complete. Click on that. And then when you get in, it's going to say EBSCO host. I don't know why it won't say academic search complete, but this is the search engine, EBSCO host. And then you could type in ink shedding, and you could go lower on the file, scroll down lower, and you can click peer reviewed full text. You want full text. That means that when you click on the journals that are brought up, you're going to get to read the full article. You do not need to read the full article. You can read until you're like, oh, okay, I like that. That's what I'm going to use. There's also something called an abstract, which is a condensed form of what's in the entire paper. Save you time. Look in the abstract. Doesn't have what you need. Go to the next journal. So if it were ink shedding, you would find a lot of journal articles on it, and you will need in your paper to define academic papers. It's been a long day, and all those things are people trying to get a hold of me. I apologize for that. I should turn that off. But for your paper, you will introduce academic papers, academic writing, let's say academic writing, and find a genre, which is a nice French word that means category or type of writing that you care about. Introduce that type of writing. Say it's lab reports. Define what lab reports are. Find an example of one to put in the paper. Find a few sources in the online library databases on lab report writing, and you will get to 5 pages if you do all of that. Say you don't care for lab reports, ink shedding, there's journal writing, like writing a diary. I should have my list sitting out here, but I don't. There's other reports, there's book reports. You can even consider high school style writings like the STAR test, and do research on that. What encompasses the STAR test? How does it ask you to write an essay? And what is the research on it? And then you will have a works cited page saying where you got those sources. So that would be a documented essay. If you're worried about your topic, run it by me. I'm here for a few hours, and then I got to present another paper tomorrow. I'll be on an airplane to go do that and present a paper and come back. And a lot of requirements for university teachers that um, you don't know about. A lot of it is service to students, and I'm down for that. So I hope this helps and takes some of the fear out of what this paper is. It is the most you will have to write by yourself because it is 5 pages. But it doesn't detract from the paper to put in a sample of the writing you're talking about. Whether it's narrative essays, which is kind of storytelling, expository essays, put a sample of a narrative essay in the paper, takes up space. Yeah, and you also can't just drop it in there and expect the reader to know, hey, you have to introduce the quotation or the excerpt of writing, introduce it, drop it in, and then explain what it's about and why it applies to academic writing and your thesis statement. So the thesis statement is that you will have to make a point. You will have to take a stand on why your genre or selection of a topic of a certain type of academic writing is indeed academic writing. And I am pretty broad, and it gets even broader when it gets to your group paper, which is the final paper, where I start accepting all kinds of different writing. But for this, the intention and objectives are, especially with TEKS and Texas state objectives, is that you have an understanding of what academic writing is. It's different than text speak or social media or informal writing. It's somewhat formal, bigger vocabulary, um, and has certain elements. So this video is going long, and I'll think if I need to make another one. You can run your topics by me. I will be on airplanes all day tomorrow, but I will have email when I get to my hotel room, and we'll get back to everybody. So don't stress. We got this. We only have 4 weeks, and I will do the best I can to accommodate everybody. And I will see you at the next video. And I am presenting a paper on vampires instead of the white donkey, so I may have on a vampire shirt. But there you go. Something to look forward to. Maybe not. Thank you. Bye.